Hey guys, welcome back for another reaction. Today I'll be reacting to what Germans really eat for dinner. I recently made a reaction video about what Germans eat for breakfast, so now I'm interested to know what Germans eat for dinner. So let's get into this.
Almost half of all Germans still have a very traditional German supper, which we call Abendbrot. And today I
Abendbrot?
want to share that with you because
I don't know if
it
I
brings
pronounced
back
that
so
good.
many memories for me. This is exactly how my family would have our Abendbrot, our evening supper. I'm going to walk you through the various elements and how to set it up and for what occasions it might be perfect. And I'm excited to take you along. First, I want to talk about the setup a little bit. It is very common for German to have placemats. We call them sets, Platzdeckchen. And what is really typical is to not have actual plates, porcelain or china plates,
Oh
but
yeah,
wooden
just
boards.
realized
Most
it.
people, in fact, have round boards with a little bit of a rim. These are my family's boards, and as you can tell, they've been well loved, and they're rectangular. It's just a matter of personal choice. The reason for
I
that
guess
is that it's easier to spread things on your bread with these
that
very
makes
beautiful
sense.
bread knives, and I only have two of those, but I thought I would bring them out. And then, of course, you have a nice napkin and your fork because Germans often eat with fork and knife. I also want to talk
Just like
about
Americans.
where the German supper, the Abendbrot, originated because it is quite unique in European countries. During the 1920s, when during the age of the industrialization, people were working in factories, and factories often had
Really?
cafeterias. So people working there would have a hot meal during their lunch time, which is still the traditional way Germans eat. They eat a cold breakfast and then a warm lunch and a cold supper. So by the time they got home, they weren't really so
Oh.
hungry. And because they had been working all day, it was just easier to prepare Brot, Abendbrot, some slices of bread and whatever spreads. In this video, I'm going to show you a bit of a hybrid version. This is probably a little bit more elaborate than what most families on weeknights would have. And also I'm going to show you a little bit more variety than most families would have
Ooh.
because it really depends on the size of the family and how many different things you're going to put on your table,
Oh
but
yeah.
also your personal preferences. Some families have gone completely vegetarian, so they might cut out the cold cuts, and some families don't like fish, which is still very traditional in
I
some shape
love
or form.
fish.
So it's really up to what they're doing. However, the presentation and the care and everything that is going into the preparation is probably a little bit more than you would do on an average weeknight. This is something that you would probably do if you had friends over, if you
Oh,
had
okay.
company, if you wanted to impress a little bit, and if you wanted to make it a little bit special. Everything really starts and revolves around bread. I am cutting some whole grain bread, a sourdough bread that I always make all the time.
Oh.
And Germany is supposed to have at least 86 different types of bread, depending.
Oh yeah, I just want to share that I've tried sourdough recently and I am not a fan. I don't know why. I didn't mind it when I put it in my salad, but when I eat it just with butter, I'm not really a fan. Sorry. But yeah, it's very soft though. That's what I like about it, being soft, but the taste, I don't know, 50-50.
On what you count as a different type of bread and where you go and who you ask, but Germans love bread. They're said to have bread with their
I've
bread.
heard
This
that.
is a lighter bread that is probably a little bit more popular and most people will like it, and so that's my bread basket. I also made some hard boiled eggs.
I'd
I
eat
just
that.
simply boiled them in boiling water for 10 minutes and then immediately put them in ice water, which makes them easier to peel. You can see that the peel
Really?
is coming off pretty easily. It's actually quite fun when you take that last bit off. I'll just simply put them back in the water to get any last bits of peel off.
Wait, that's a good tip. I should definitely do that. I just had egg for lunch like a few hours ago, and I boiled it, of course, and it's coming off really annoying. So yeah, I will try this tip because I'm watching this.
Butter is another really important piece here for this supper, this Abendbrot. And while this is not a real German butter, it is a European style butter. It is the Irish Kerrygold that I can highly recommend because of its high fat content and low moisture content. So it's extremely creamy and tasty. And I'm putting it
Oh,
in this butter dish that
I
is
love
not
butter.
a German butter dish because it's a smaller size, but it is a butter dish that I really like. And then next for the cheeses, I have a little confession to make. Even though this is a German supper, I'm not using authentic, real German cheeses. I'm using a Gruyere,
Okay.
which is my favorite one. If you want to get them in America, I recommend the Gruyere by Emmy Roth. And then I have another Gouda, which is also really popular. I mean, both cheeses are
Oh yeah,
really
I
popular
have
with
Gouda.
Germans, but the Gouda is the softer cheese from Holland. And it actually cuts not very well, but most people in Germany often buy sliced cheese, which I try to avoid because I like my cheese really fresh.
Oh,
I also went to the deli that luckily has Schaller and Weber cold cuts. I'm going to leave a link for you below. These are really traditional liverwurst, Leberwurst, and then I have a bologna, which is, I think it's bologna,
Bologna.
and a
Oh,
salami on my cold cuts plate here, which is a round of wood that my grandfather made. The pickles, if you're just serving that supper with your family, you might just put that jar of pickles on the table. But I am making it a little bit more elaborate, and I'm putting the pickles sliced open on my charcuterie board, which it essentially is, directly next to my cold cuts to make it look a little bit more appealing. And then I have some Oberster, which is
what are
some people
those?
call it beer cheese. It can or not contain beer, but
Ah,
it's a cheese spread. And that's very typical, more for the southern part of Germany, Bavaria, than the northern part. But Germans love spreads in all sorts of
really?
shapes and tastes and whatnot. And you can go to stores and really literally get very different spreads. Either they're vegetarian or they're meat based.
Interesting.
I'm setting the table here, and you can follow along in real life. Oftentimes, every square inch of the table is covered, which is sometimes also the case for a nice elaborate breakfast, especially
Those dinner setup and the food looks fancy to me. I don't know why. Just kind of like in the movie, when you see those and you're like, oh, fancy. Looks like rich food or something.
when you want to impress when you have company. So we'll just put everything out. Here is my beer cheese, and really important is salt and pepper because everybody is different. Everybody needs different
Yeah.
seasonings. My
Yes.
grandparents actually even had more seasonings than that. Then I have my tinned fish, and I have Schmalz,
Oh.
which is essentially lard, but it comes in a jar and you can buy it in Germany just like that. Then we have butter, and then we have various tubes here. They
Oh yeah, the
are
tubes.
tubes of mustard, mayo, and then I have a sweet mustard. You've probably seen that in stores. You can buy tomato paste in a tube, but that's always really fun because you squeeze out exactly how much you want. Kids love it
Yeah.
particularly, and it's a little bit like, yes, your toothpaste. Just
I want to
imagine
say that.
your toothpaste tube on the table.
Yeah, I already saw those before, like the tube, but I'm still not used to it. They still look like toothpaste. But yeah, I guess those are just make sense, because it'll be easier to just pump it and then you can put how much do you want.
Then I'm serving Gerolsteiner sparkling water. I really like that a lot better than the San Pellegrino. And
Ah,
very typical still with a lot of Germans is beer
beer.
for supper.
Okay.
Not anything else but beer. Here is the final setup. You could always have more, but I feel like this is very comprehensive. This is very traditional, and just the look of it. And I have to also say the smell of it was very traditional. I
Looks
had so much fun.
fancy.
So, first of all, I pour myself a glass of beer. I'm not much of a beer drinker, really, but with this type of meal, I have to say that beer, this is a Warsteiner, is really the most typical. And
Really?
as I said before, we love these wooden boards because there's no rim and it's really easy to spread things on slices of bread. There's nothing in the way. You don't have to hold the knife at a weird angle. And that's why I love these wooden
Oh
boards
yeah.
and my butter knives. Here is some liverwurst, and it's really fun to put different things on different combinations of like basically an open-faced sandwich. My grandparents often even prepared slices of bread with spread or cold cuts or cheese on them and would have them ready made in.
Oh yeah, that looks fancy to me. Like how she eat the bread. Cause for me, I would just hold it up with my hand. I didn't realize she would eat it like that with the fork. That's interesting. That's actually shocking to me right now. Didn't expect it.
Smaller, not the whole slice, but they would cut a half slice or a quarter slice and then on a big platter and would serve that. I have fond memories of that, but I
Interesting.
like this version a lot better where everybody can just do whatever they want and serve themselves with whatever they like best. I
Yeah.
also I'm such a big cheese eater and I could have cheese all the time. What's interesting is that Germans still often eat with fork and knife, as I mentioned earlier, not only cutting it, but also eating it. So instead of just taking
Huh.
a slice of bread and using your fingers and putting it in your mouth and taking a bite, they actually cut it with a knife and use the fork to move it to their mouth. That's still considered good form, good etiquette, and keeping both hands on the table is also considered good etiquette. Not the
And
elbow, you
fancy.
get slapped depending on what generation you are, but also not one hand in your lap. That's considered impolite and just not really how you do things.
It's interesting that it's so easy for them to just use left hand with their fork, right hand with, and then right hand with their knives. Because for me, I always switch it. Like it's so hard. I don't know. It's just a mindset. Like I would always switch it. Sometimes I don't even notice, and when I realized it, I was like, yeah, I can left my left hand to just eat with my fork. I don't know. That's just so weird to me how I do it. But yeah.
And here is the tinned fish. It's always a little bit of a challenge to open the tin without the can, without spilling any of the tomato sauce.
Yeah.
But this is really delicious. You don't really see
Do
where
you
the
dip
fish
it?
is, but
Oh, okay.
you can get it out of there. I have to say
Ah.
I enjoyed this meal so much. We're going to have it more often again. This is so traditional and so yummy, and everybody
Yeah.
raved
It looks
about it.
good.
You will see just in a moment that there wasn't a whole lot left after four of us had this delicious supper. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
That was a good video, and it just made me realize that Germans are so fancy. Like, look at that. And I was surprised that they actually don't have a plate, but I guess it's easier and it just makes sense with the cutting board or like that board when you're eating with bread, right? But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.